Have you ever felt completely depleted? No drive, left with a strange and uncomfortable void that comes after certain habits? That's not in your head. In this video, we will uncover one of the more heavy and hidden spiritual truths in the world that doesn't get talked about very often, but affects many souls quietly. What demonic forces really take from you when you succumb to the habit of masturbation? Yes, it is a serious and sometimes controversial subject, which is why so few people talk about it. But the truth must be uncovered. There is a powerful spiritual element to this act. It is not simply a biological release or an innocent pastime. It is way more serious than that. It affects your energy field, your mental clarity, your sense of purpose, and most importantly, your sacred spiritual journey. The most destructive thing, the more you succumb to that pattern, the more you unknowingly feed parasitic entities, energies that wish to keep you weak, distracted, and disconnected from the spirit. So if you often feel like you're constantly depleted of energy, the life is stagnant, or your connection to the divine is far away and dull, then this message is for you. We are going to delve into the unseen costs of this behavior. We are going to elaborate on why it hits the hardest for the chosen ones, those meant for something greater. And most of all, we're going to illuminate a route out of it, a way back to reclaiming your sacred power. If this message stirs something in you, if it awakens a memory of who you really are, then please like this video, share it with someone who may need to watch and subscribe to the channel. Tap the notification bell so you don't miss the sacred wisdom yet to come. The chosen ones are endowed with a sacred energy source, a sacred life energy that gives strength to their physical existence, to their spiritual clarity, and supports a birthright higher purpose. It goes by many names: Kundalini, spiritual essence, inner light. Whatever you call it, it's all real. When this energy is flowing properly, you are healthy, focused, intuitive, and grounded in your divine purpose. But when it is exhausted or wasted, there are very detectable signs: chronic fatigue, foggy mind, procrastination, and an almost embarrassing void of existential purpose. And that's exactly what happens when a chosen one falls into the dark cycle of unsupervised masturbation. Each time this sacred energy is expelled, without intention, without consciousness, it is not just a physical drain. It is spiritual theft. Did you ever pay attention to how afterward your body is limp? Your spirit is dulled. It feels like something sacred has been taken from you. That's not simply a passing feeling. It is an actual depletion of your energy. Your aura is weakened, and your vibration is lower. This is why ancient spiritual traditions have always asserted the importance of conserving and transmuting your sex energy. Because in the unseen world, that energy is among the most powerful creation forces. It carries the very spark of life. When that force is directed with awareness, it can give rise to some astonishing changes, magnify your spiritual sensitivity, and even protect from lower or parasitic energies. But when wasted over and over again, and unconsciously, it creates the polar opposite: weakness, vulnerability, and a space for spiritual attack. This is where the dark entities, the demons, make their play. They wait for the moment you're in depletion, when you're not completely protected, and then they feed. Each time you indulge in the cycle, it's like handing a piece of your sacred essence away. Not metaphorically, energetically. Your life force, intended to fuel your divine purpose, is being drained into a void that doesn't even give anything back. Have you noticed how, after satisfying this habit, a cloud of sadness comes over you? A dulling sensation, or a lethargic inability to connect to your higher self, to your spirituality. This is no accident. It is the residual effect of an energetic violation. And with each repetition of this cycle, it becomes harder and harder to return to your center, to your power, to your sacred clarity. Now, ask yourself, what happens when this leakage of spiritual power becomes normalized? What happens when that golden thread connecting you to the divine becomes frayed? God does not only speak in words. Divine guidance is felt as vibration, intuition, sacred resonance. This subtle yet potent channel must be held by alignment, purity, and intentionality. Once your life force energy is held, your inner voice gets louder, your visions get clearer, and you begin to see the signs the universe is always sending. But when your sacred energy is constantly wasted, as through unconscious sexual behaviors, the connection begins to fade into silence. Have you ever experienced that guilt after falling into that pattern? Like you dropped a vibration? Like it became more challenging to hear God's voice or feel anything sacred at all? That feeling is real, because masturbation, especially when infused with lustful fantasies or energetically toxic junk, creates an invisible wall between you and the divine. And that wall is not just mental, it is spiritual and energetic. Each time the sacred energy is released unconscious, your frequency decreases and you cloud the higher realms you have access to. It is like a veil being placed over your spiritual sight. You lose the ability to hear guidance, sense peace, feel divine protection. And here's something I don't think many really understand. Masturbation nearly always takes place with someone else in mind. It usually comes with an array of images, concepts, and content infested with low vibrational energy. When the act is done unconsciously or without sacred awareness, potential energy channels are opened, allowing darkness into the energy field and allowing a shadow of darkness to dissolve the sacredness of sexuality. You unnecessarily open the energy field of your soul to potential darkness, not because of the act itself, but because of what surrounds the act. These influences are not innocent. These influences work as energy anchors on your spirit, pulling you down like stones to drown you and blocking your light and life force essence. The invisible energy drain. Have you ever felt weirdly tired, unmotivated, or lethargic, especially after certain actions? If so, you are not alone, and you are not crazy. Today, we are going to reveal a neglected yet very real spiritual concept, a truth about your energy when you fall into the cycle of masturbation. I know this topic can be heavy and controversial, which is exactly why it is rarely discussed. Most people ignore or deny the very real spiritual implications of this vice. The truth of the matter is this: it is not just a physical act. The deep spiritual implications of this habit leave a very real impact on your personal mental state, your spirit strength, and your relationship with the divine. What if I told you that there are certain forces, spiritual and unseen, that feed off your life energy every time you fall into this cycle subconsciously? If you have felt drained or stuck or disconnected from your higher self or the God source, then this video is for you. We will examine the hidden energetic cost of this habit, the reason it weakens the chosen ones, and, most importantly, how to break the cycle and reclaim your power. If this message has spoken to you, go ahead and like the video and share it to someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss new content to assist you on your spiritual path. The sacred energy of the chosen ones. The people who are called, the call of the chosen one, have a unique energy that you can call Kundalini, life force, or inner spiritual power. It is not entirely symbolic. High energy and concentration, mental clarity, strong levels of intuition, an extremely deep sense of purpose and direction. However, when that energy becomes depleted, the susceptibility to recognizing the signs of depletion becomes noticeable as you become aware of chronic fatigue, disinterest, or lack of motivation, mental fogginess, chronic feelings of emptiness. That is exactly what happens when a chosen one becomes trapped in their uncontrolled release of energy through auto-stimulation and/or masturbation. When we are consciously aware of how we release our energy through auto-stimulation or masturbation, we are releasing a life force. As physically pleasurable as this can be, it is important to recognize that pleasure is created by tangible stimulation, and the pep energy, courage, or resolve that you gained when you decided to engage in auto-stimulation. You have also released a little parcel of spirit force. Over time, these temporal releases of life force will deplete the aura's energy body little by little. It dulls your intuition, and it distorts the divine communication in your spirit body. It is likely that you have experienced the strange feelings of tiredness and/or sense of emotional dropping just after you indulged in labor. If you thought that this was all psychological, you were wrong. That is real energy loss, otherwise known as depleting your inner light. The spiritual consequences of habitually releasing. This is why many spiritual paths, especially those that are ancient, instruct on controlling sexual energy, because it's a powerful force. It carries the seed of creation. If the energy is converted tastefully, it will create remarkable changes in your life, enhance your spiritual experiences, increase your resilience to energetic attacks. But if allowed to be expended endlessly, the inverse result will happen. You will become susceptible. You will feel disconnected and lost. You will invite in spiritual parasites. That's right. Demons, negative entities, or just energetically low vibrational beings can feed on your ambivalent energy. They want to keep you trapped in this cycle. Why? Because it allows you to stay spiritually mute. The more you feed that habitual cycle, the farther away you get from your celestial potential. Have you ever felt a heaviness or an emotional low after that release? That is the result of energy loss. The higher the frequency it happens, the harder it is to build back up your energy. Spiritual disconnect and divine seclusion. Once your energetic state is strong enough and aligned, then your cosmic divine connection opens, allowing for feelings of guidance, signs, and walking the path of energy connection and divine bliss. However, if you are not replenishing your energetic state, this life force defense and relationship with the spiritual world and guidance system it is part of goes blank. Have you taken notice of how you're able to hear divine guidance, concentrate during your prayer or meditation, understand spiritual messages? Each unconscious release lowers your energetic frequency. This will create a veil between you and the spiritual world. You stop seeing the signs. You stop feeling God. Your peace is now far away. Remember, masturbation does not happen alone. It is often associated with fantasies, dark content, and stimulation connected to heavy vibrations. The images of this kind of stimulation are not only going to contribute to your thoughts, but the surrounding energies. The impact of abstinence and energy preservation. Many chosen ones have testified that during the periods of abstinence and energy preservation, something profound occurs. Intuition accelerates, dreams become lucid, connection with Source intensifies. Why? Because your vibration raises by preserving your life force. Whereas, if you release your life force repeatedly, it gradually diminishes your spiritual sensitivity. This detachment exposes you to attacks, uncertainty, confusion, possible depression. Have you noticed how your mind becomes anxiety-fed or brain foggy after you allow yourself to indulge in a habit? That is simply because your shield dimmed with your energy. When you are fully charged, you emanate a spiritual shield. You deflect darkness, you protect your mind, you walk with clarity and purpose. When your energy is depleted, the protection dissipates, and parasitic energies see an opportunity. The downward spiral. Guilt, doubts, and confusion. Negative forces do not always approach with thunder and lightning. Sometimes they whisper to you. Self-doubt, procrastination, guilt, mental heaviness. Before long, it becomes so familiar it is your new normal. No more meditation, no more prayer. You may even stop believing in your path. This is where we follow the vicious cycle. Low vibration, which leads to more self-sabotage, which leads to a lower vibration. And before you know it, you have lost your flow and are wondering why your goals, whether spiritual or material, seem so far away. Lack of discipline and dopamine. Rewiring. Masturbating is not just a negative impact on your energy. It is a negative impact on your brain. Every time you allow yourself to indulge, your brain is being flooded with dopamine, the chemical that creates a feeling of pleasure. But over time, this has rewired your brain to chase only short-term pleasure. Your discipline is gone. Spiritual practices feel stale. You become addicted to the easy way to get a satisfying reward. That is when you may start to notice a lack of motivation. More laziness. Your meditation and prayer feel harder. You are okay with procrastination. Your brain will be resistant to your growth and will favor the intended quick hit of dopamine over the long-term spiritual power and intention. Impact on your relationships and life purpose. And it isn't only inside you that things are changed. Your relationships with other people will start to change too. After you let yourself go, do you start noticing people starting to pull away? Conversations becoming awkward? Energy feeling off between you and others? Your vibration has dropped. People, even if they don't know why, feel that. It changes how they see you and respond to you. Your intuition gets clouded, and you start trusting wrong people, or making bad choices, or drifting off of your path. The mission you have been born for starts to fade away in the background. You were chosen. Take back your power. Deep down, you know you don't have a normal life. You just feel that way. You've heard the calling from a young age. You know you're here for something more. But to answer that call, it requires discipline and mastery of your vital energy. The habit of unconscious release takes mastery away from you. Unconscious release keeps you in a loop of weakness, distraction, and spiritual slumber. If you don't wake up from this loop, all of your true power will remain undiscovered. But it's not too late. With awareness, discipline, and spiritual practice, you can reestablish your power. Feeling powerless leads to more guilt and disempowerment. This creates a spiral in your mind. You feel lost, seek relief in instant gratification, weaken yourself further, lose the ability to focus, and before you know it, your life has come to a standstill. The chosen ones are blessed with the gift of manifesting realities, which is not just a coincidence or thinking positively. This is due to an action and energy. Everything you think, feel, and believe gives off a vibrational frequency that attracts events and experiences into your life. All this amazing power can be totally ruined when you waste your creative energy. Sexual energy is one of the most potent forms of vital force we humans possess. It is no wonder that great spiritual masters throughout history have talked about the importance of directing it. This is pure creation. This is the same energy you use to create life, create projects, and create attraction. When you are always depleting this energy, more so with mindless, pointless masturbation, your ability to attract begins to fail. Have you noticed when you are strong, focused, and disciplined, life seems to flow better? Your doors are not only opening, you are meeting the right people. All the answers come easier. Everything lines up. You are vibrating with the energy of attraction. But when that energy is wasted unconsciously and uncontrollably, then your vibrational frequency diminishes. It's like your manifesting power empties into nothingness. What was once a strong and powerful magnetic field is now dislocated and chaotic. You begin to doubt yourself, think negative thoughts, and stagnate. Remember, demons and parasitic entities feast off of this state of vulnerability. The weaker you feel, the harder it becomes to take back control of your reality. Another important element is making sure you are thinking clearly. When your creative energy is intact, your mind is sharper, your intuitive skills increase, and you start to see opportunities and pathways that have always been there before, but have been hidden. Your mind can be also cloudy, confused, and distracted when your energy dissipation becomes too unmanageable. You lose that connection with your own power and will reflect this state of mind in all areas of your existence. When you are trying to manifest prosperity and are trapped in this energy waste cycle, you start to move away from abundance. When you are desiring a greater purpose and can't move forward from stagnation, it is possible that your creative force is being depleted. The good news is this energy can be reclaimed. Like a muscle in need of conditioning, your manifestation energy can be restored when you learn to intentionally direct your life energy. Now that you've recognized the spiritual detriments of this behavior, the big question is this: how do you end it permanently? How do you break free of the cycle and reclaim your energy, clarity, and a connection with the divine? The answer is not just determination. The desire to change by itself may not be powerful enough. What you need is a plan, discipline, and most importantly, a distinct change in how you look at this energy. Step 1 is awareness. You need to understand what you're doing is not benign. Each time you follow this yearning, you are giving away your energy. Every time you nurture fantasies or uncontrolled urges, you are also opening a portal to forces who want to keep you weak. When you have this clarity of thought, everything changes. It allows you to step out of autopilot. The second task is converting this energy. Sexual energy is highly potent, but it must be directed mindfully. If you don't consciously use this energy, it will manifest in a chaotic way. This is why practices that use physical exertion, mindfulness meditation, prayer, or simply breathing are so helpful, because they provide an outlet for this vital force, reorienting it to something of value. If there's a strong urge to let off your intense sexual energy or heat, try to focus that energy on something productive. Take that power and create, work on your projects, or strengthen your body and mind. The more that you focus that energy to something greater, the less of a grip that it has on you. There's also another important consideration. Stay engaged with a purpose greater than yourself. One of the biggest triggers for getting caught into this cycle is boredom and lack of purpose. When your life feels empty and you lack a solid sense of direction, your mind seeks a way out, and instant gratification becomes an easy, deadly trap. That's why it is important to fill your days with emotions, causes, and people that inspire you. Take a moment to reflect. What mission has God placed in front of me? How can I use my energy for something that isn't at the expense of others? When you harness a purpose that makes you feel alive, these distractions do not hold the same power over you. Here comes a point that many forget: your surroundings. If you are around negative stimuli or binge-watch shows that take you back to this habit for hours, it will be much more difficult to break the cycle. The change has to happen completely from your mindset to your daily consumption. Finally, ask for spiritual help. You do not have to do this alone. Pray, ask for inspiration, ask for strength to break free. The more connected you can be with the divine, the less likely you are to get caught in these snares. Breaking this cycle is not easy, but it is possible. After you do, you can expect to see your life change in incredible ways. Now that you understand what is at stake, the question is, what will you do with this information? Will you stay on the autopilot setting, giving your energy to the forces that want you to stay in a weak state? Or will you reset your life and reclaim your power that has always belonged to you? This isn't only a matter of self-control, it's a matter of spiritual liberty. When you free yourself from this cycle, everything shifts. You will have more clarity. You will trust your own intuition. You will have more clarity in your mind, your actions and choices will be more deliberate without an excess amount of energy in the mere choices you have made in your past. You are coming to the awareness that, though you felt fatigued, undermotivated, and even mildly anxious, those emotions were symptoms of a theft to which you were unconsciously falling victim. So you have a choice. Do you think this has already happened to you, and that this habit has dragged you down and cramped your growth? Then, please leave a comment and tell your story. Your story may help someone else identify this trap and make a different decision. If this video struck a chord with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear this. Perhaps that person doesn't even recognize they have been or are caught. One word at the right time can change an entire life, so be a light. Finally, please subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and do not miss any other similar content. We are all in this journey together, awakening spiritually and protecting ourselves from the traps that stop us from fulfilling our purpose. See you in the next video, and may the light always shine upon you.